Here is a foolproof tutorial on how not to grow as a photographer. Step 1. Do not practice nor improve your composition skills. Ever. It is public enemy number 1. Rule of thirds, leading lines, experimenting with different perspectives and angles and vantage points. It's all a bunch of hokey pokey if you ask me. Don't get me started on negative space or using foreground elements for depth. I mean, come on, buddy. Yuck. Make no mistake, these are some of the most dangerous concepts for the stagnant photographer. If you think composition, tread very carefully, my friend. Rather, watch a gear review video and forget about it immediately. Check this one out. Step 2. Be resistant to constructive criticism. Always. You know more than anyone else. Don't forget Jordan Peterson's old lie when he said, rule number 9, assume that the person you are listening to might know something you don't. Let me reassure you, there is literally no one who can teach you anything. Being enlightened by even a novice's point of view or question is a clear sign of a student mindset, and this is the enemy of being stagnant in not just photography, but in any avenue of life. Be afraid. Step 3. Absolutely refuse to experiment. Do not play around with other genres of photography outside your chosen niche. That's the key word here, play. Because when you start to play, well, then you start to become creative. And this is a terrible place to be as a photographer. Forget genres, just even applying some new technique is dangerous. So for example, if you're a portrait photographer, don't experiment with tilt and shift lenses or landscapes or long exposure or street photography. This applies for all the other types of photographers too. It's basically guaranteed that you will learn something from one niche and you might bring it into your niche, thereupon improving your photography game. Come on, man. Stick to your genre. As long as you're not willing to leave your comfort zone, you're safe. Step 4. Don't invest time or money into education. I think we can all agree that time and money are valuable commodities. Exchanging these for any form of education, whether it's a class or a workshop, has never brought anyone any good, really. You know, we were all students once. It was miserable. You should never have to learn anything ever again, especially not from someone else. That money's better spent on camera gear and more camera gear and a bigger place to store all that camera gear. Step 5. Fundamentals are boring. Do not take the time to learn the technical aspects of photography. If you already know them, all is not lost. Just never revisit them. Understanding exposure is totally overrated. It might even lead to experimentation, and see step number 2 for that. In truth, Understanding Exposure is a dangerous book by Brian Peterson, which teaches you more about exposure in one chapter than any other book I've come across. Don't buy it on Amazon via the link below. Yeah, don't reread it every 2 or 3 years either. Step 6. Lighting is for losers. You know it, I know it. Come on. Is there anything more overrated than playing around with light? Listen, buddy, not experimenting with different lighting and failing to understand its importance in photography will serve you very well over the years. You will have the same look, you will have no challenges, you will make no mistakes to learn from, and you will not add any fuel to that creative fire within you. This is good. Step 7. Studying other photographers' work is a bad idea. So don't buy any photography books from the greats. The look behind the scenes that they give you into their creative process might leave you being inspired. And Steal Like an Artist, Austin Kleon writes, all creative work builds on what came before. This is another book linked below which you don't want to click on, purchase, and draw lessons from because, you might end up figuring out your own style if you did. Even interacting with your peers and other photographers you admire, it's not recommended. Again, more fuel to that creative fire which must be doused at every possible opportunity. This is all very bad news, my friend. But you should definitely compare yourself to others. Also, tell everyone why their photography is crap and yours isn't. This is a very good look. Step 8. God forbid you ever put together a photography project. Even just a personal one. One that starts with an idea which transforms into a concept with some intention, an idea of what you want it to look like. Look, practicing intention in photography is always a terrible idea. You might end up with a fully executed photography series and an appetite to do some more. I mean, if you spiral out of control entirely, you might even put together a portfolio of sorts, have some sort of direction for your photography to grow into. I mean, this is a slippery slope, my friend. You shut the door on that shit immediately. Step 9, and the final most important way not to grow as a photographer. Focus entirely on gear and equipment. If not all of your time and effort and money, then at least 80% of it. Remember, without the best gear, you will never take that perfect shot. It is far more important than just going out there to shoot and practice. It is far more important than developing your skills or your understanding of photography. As you can see, it is far more difficult to keep all these rules than it is to pursue growth as a photographer. And still, be warned, because by breaking possibly one of these rules, you may be tempted to break another. And the next thing you know, you've grown as a photographer, and worse, you might have even found new joy in an old hobby. And remember, subscribe and click the notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on my upcoming lens review, because gear matters most. P.S. You get 10% off all my presets because you watch till the end. Discount code below. But I was serious about that lens review. And if you know my videos, you know they're always a little bit different. You got a little bit different perspective on things. Peace. All right. Again, I think that was okay. What do you think? That worked out?